This is Steve Robbins. Welcome to the Get It Done Guys quick and dirty tips to work less and do more. Bottlenecks. I just love bottlenecks. No, I don't. I hate bottlenecks. But they're a fact of life, just like cat pictures and Kim Kardashian. So, life does get better when learning to deal with them. First, let's get clear on what a bottleneck is. It's not a species of tropical bird. Any system, like a person or a company or a computer program, is made up of lots of parts. Those parts all work at different speeds. But at any given moment, there's only one part that's maxed out, and that's called the bottleneck. It's working as hard as it can, and the rest of the system has to orient around it. I've never been on the Autobahn, but I've heard stories about this mythic highway in Germany with no speed limit, where even light can go as fast as it wants. On the Autobahn, you don't just put the pedal to the metal, you put the pedal through the metal, being careful not to cut your foot on the torn pieces of metal, of course. When you're driving on the Autobahn, the bottleneck is the accelerator. Your car is built so that all of that power, all of those moving parts and all that energy funnels down to your foot on the accelerator. That makes it the car's bottleneck. And the bottleneck can change depending on circumstances. On the Autobahn, the accelerator is your bottleneck. On a U.S. freeway, the posted speed limit is the bottleneck. Drive too fast and you'll be stopped by the cops. On a dirt road, the road quality is a bottleneck. Drive too fast and your wheels will fall off. Now here's the cool thing about bottlenecks. If you want to change how fast a system operates, start with the bottlenecks and you'll get your highest leverage. Bottlenecks are everywhere in your life. They have to be. Bernice is pulling together the finances for her 2 green growing things plant stores. She's impatiently waiting for Melvin and Europa to give her the numbers. From Bernice's point of view, assembling the numbers is the bottleneck. She can tweak the bottleneck by finding ways to assemble the numbers that don't involve waiting for Melvin and Europa. Europa, of course, has a different view of where the bottleneck is. She's working diligently to assemble the numbers. Now, Bernice started her very first store with a really informal approach. Each purchase is just noted on an index card and tossed into a brown cardboard box beneath the checkout counter. As she put it, "A cash register, being a man-made device, does not do proper honor to the goddess. Index cards are made from trees, which is only fitting." Assembling the numbers requires picking up 10,000 index cards, orienting them correctly, and then adding the numbers. From Europa's point of view, the bottleneck is organizing and adding up the purchased numbers. Now that Bernice no longer works the cash register, Europa plans to fix the bottleneck by purchasing an electronic cash register that automatically tracks and totals the purchases. Buying a cash register changes the checkout system, so the cash register is no longer the bottleneck. That's an example of changing a system to change its performance. In fact, the Get It Done Guy podcast itself is all about ways that you can change parts of your personal system for getting things done. If you concentrate on tips that affect the things that are bottlenecks in your life, then you'll get the biggest bang for your buck. Leaving aside for a moment the observation that podcasts are free, so you're not paying any bucks, which is why I still need a day job. Bitter? Me? Nonsense. When you change a system or operate it differently, the bottleneck shifts. Back on the Autobahn, you can see space aliens hovering over the road using a tractor beam to pull the cars up into their intergalactic saucer to perform unspeakable experiments on the occupants. Being a smart person, you slam on the brakes. Hard. Now the bottleneck has changed from the accelerator to the brakes. If Europa buys a new cash register for the store, next year there will still be a bottleneck to collecting the numbers. It will just be a different one. Perhaps next year the bottleneck will be the fact that the newfangled cash register exports its data in a format that requires a $10,000 software package to interpret. The bottleneck has changed from sorting index cards to muddling through the convoluted menus of a poorly designed software package. Now it's your turn. Think through the major tasks in your work life. What are the major deliverables that you're responsible for? If you're a programmer, it's lines of working code. If you're a marketing manager, it's successful product launches. If you're a publicist, it's scheduling interviews. If you're a bellman, it's getting luggage to and from people's rooms and keeping them happy and satisfied. The people, not the luggage. If you're a blogger, it's writing blog posts. Think through the steps that make up that activity and identify the pieces that really limit the speed at which the activity can be done. Sometimes those pieces can't be changed. If you're a chef, properly cooking food does take a certain amount of time and you can't really go any faster. But if you're a bicycle messenger and your bike speed is the limiting factor, you might be able to change the gear ratio, buy a different bike, or choose a route that lets you pedal faster to get past your current limits. Sometimes the limiting factor can be a skill. If you do a lot of typing in your job, pay attention to whether your typing speed is a bottleneck for you. Some people type fast enough that composing their text is the bottleneck, but for others, it's the typing itself that takes the time. If you fall into that camp, consider taking a touch typing course. It'll make a world of difference to your productivity at anything that requires typing. Also, it's the same for reading. If you're a reporter or somebody who has to do a lot of reading for your job, hey, a speed reading course might be in order. If you need to read for deep understanding, speed reading can be less useful because it's the actual process of acquiring deep understanding that may be the bottleneck. But if you're reading to bring in information and find patterns or identify important trends, speed reading just might help. Bottlenecks always exist. You fix one and things get faster, but there's still a new bottleneck. It's just somewhere else in the system. Sometimes the bottleneck is physics or biology or something else that can't be changed, and you just can't get any more performance unless you redesign part or all of the system itself. So get curious. Look around at the things you're responsible for. Find a bottleneck and optimize it. By focusing your efforts on your bottlenecks, you'll soon be working less and doing more. This is Steve Robbins. Follow Get It Done Guy on Twitter and Facebook. I help CEOs and general managers boost their company's performance with strategic insight, cultural management, and managing difficult people. If you want to know more, visit steverobbins.com. That's SteverRobbins.com. Work less, do more, and have a great life.